On the Ozarks Wake Up Weather, sponsored by Scooters Coffee and Rescue Towing. Here's your host, meteorologist Abby Dyer.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to your Monday, and congratulations to all of you Kansas City Chiefs fans. Wow, what a Super Bowl. Those of you needing an extra day from Super Bowl Sunday, you may get your wish, a snow day after the Super Bowl. It's not all too uncommon, but a nice way to celebrate a win if you have the day at home, and I think some places will. Flakes starting to fly in many places overnight, and that's ongoing early this morning. We're seeing rain change over into snowflakes. The real catch in this forecast is that the temperature is very close to the freezing point. So we are going to see heavy, wet snow. The snow is going to contain a whole lot of moisture. It is going to add up quickly in spots. In fact, there are bands of heavy snowfall on the radar just south of I-44, where snowfall rates are 1 to 2 inches per hour. In those spots, we're going to see reduced visibility, and the snowfall rates are so fast that it's actually overcoming the relatively warm conditions that we are waking up to this morning. So for some in the Ozarks, it's a big time snow day. We're talking several inches of snow, up to 5, maybe even 6 inches of snowfall that will end up on the ground later today. For others, this is pretty much a non-event because the temperature is not really all too cold. We're going to see lots of melting through the event, and you don't get those really heavy snowfall rates. So the trick in the forecast today is pinpointing exactly where that's going to happen. Best chance to see some accumulating snowfall, I-44 corridor, and kind of that quadrant south of I-44 and west of Highway 65. I think that's the bullseye. That looks like where we're seeing some of the heaviest snowfall rates from the radar echoes early this morning. So that's kind of the area that's targeted to see it the most in terms of snowfall. It's a wintry start to the week everywhere, though. Not only do we have temperatures right around the freezing point as of 5 a.m., but we also have a north wind to go along with it. So north breeze is really going to play a role here. Makes it feel blustery and cold outside. And I don't have a whole lot of nice feeling weather in the forecast today, even though temperatures aren't all that cold. In fact, even later today, I think we warm up into the upper 30s again. Here's what's happening though. Surface low pressure is centered down in Arkansas, and being on the north side of a low pressure system when there's winter weather involved, it's kind of the bullseye where you don't want to be for the heavy snow band. That's where some of us in the Ozarks are. So it's going to be this very narrow band of heavy snowfall, as I mentioned. I'm thinking that it's going to be this heavy, wet snow that really does reduce visibility and means impacts on the roadways in a hurry. I expect Springfield to end up with anywhere between 2 and 5 inches of snowfall. Initially, that may all be on grassy surfaces, elevated surfaces, and the roadways may be okay for a time. However, if we're on the upper end of that, closer to 5 inches, it will likely be enough to overcome the warm roadways, make for slushy, wet conditions, and travel likely impacted. I'm saying especially early today, and then I think we'll be able to get those roads in pretty good shape by this evening as this event comes to an end. The real bullseye of this storm system will likely be southwest of the Springfield area, but the I-44 corridor impacted here. So if you have any travel planned today, you're heading to Oklahoma, you're heading up to St. Louis, I-44 corridor, I think that's where we have these potentials to see the heavy bands of snow develop, and we could have a couple inches, which of course means that visibility and travel could be hazardous. So big heads up to you. If you don't have to go anywhere and you're getting some of the heavy snow, just stay home today. Postpone the plans one day. I expect we'll see a lot of school closings coming out, and we will likely see temperatures recover in a hurry, and you can return or resume business as usual as early as tomorrow. Most of the impacts will be I-44 corridor. I don't think we get much of anything for central Missouri, St. Louis, Kansas City. They may get a little bit of snow in St. Louis, but Kansas City won't see anything. We also won't see much along the I-70 corridor. This is really kind of focused for Oklahoma, Arkansas, and us here in the Ozarks. So if you're a snow lover, lucky you. You are kind of in the bullseye of this one. Lots of melting will occur. I do expect that this heavy, wet snow, though, may be kind of difficult to manage. And one thing I found interesting that's worth bringing up is the National Weather Service put out a reminder of, the fact that this is a heavy, wet snow, it can be dangerous to try and get outside and shovel some of this. So take some breaks. Don't go shovel the entire driveway or do the entire neighborhood, because this could be hazardous to your health because it's going to be so heavy. It can cause heart problems. And we see that happen often with these heavy, wet snow events. But good for making snowmen. So if you are home today or the kids want to try, this stuff should stick. Commute impacts, hazardous travel. We've already talked about that. Also reduced visibilities while that heavy snow is flying. Make sure you just are prepared for slower than normal traffic if you absolutely have to get out today. Reduce the risk for accident by just staying home if you can. And there will likely be a period of time where you can get out later this evening as some of that melting occurs. I mentioned temperatures get back to the upper 30s today. So this is not going to stick around for a week like our last event when it just was so cold after the snowfall events. We have above average temperatures also returning. In fact, we could be pushing 60 again by Thursday of this week. It's going to be an incredibly wild week, starting with winter weather. By Wednesday, we're sunny and mid 50s. So this will be long gone. We won't be talking about any more snowfall in this forecast. Overnight tonight, it will be cold back into the mid 20s. So if you do have any of that wet, heavy snow sticking around tonight, it could refreeze in the overnight hours, anything that didn't melt off completely. And then high temperatures are back to near 50 degrees as early as Tuesday. So really conditions improve in a hurry here. Around the country, what I'm talking about is heavy rain and thunderstorms for the Gulf Coast. They are on the south end of this same system, and it brought severe weather to many places on Sunday night through early this morning. We also are seeing winter storm heading for the northern mid-Atlantic. New York, Pennsylvania going to be impacted by that. And we've also got above average temperatures on tap again this week for much of the Midwest. We get in on that here in the Ozarks, and we are going to get to see temperatures that are well above average for this time of the year. So lucky us. If those of you that like the early spring, just like our friend Punxsutawney Phil. All right, it's time for the Around the Ozarks Wake Up Weather Brain Twister question for the day. Here it is. This is what I left you with on Friday. Which U.S. state's license plates? I'm sorry, this is not what I left you with on Friday. Let me find the one that I left you with on Friday. Here it is. Which city hosted the coldest Super Bowl ever? Do you think it was A, San Francisco, California, B, Detroit, Michigan, C, Minneapolis, Minnesota, or D, New Orleans? Which city hosted the coldest Super Bowl ever? San Francisco, Detroit, Minneapolis, or New Orleans? Those of you that logged on to Around the Ozarks and took a guess, this may not be the obvious guess here. I thought this one was so interesting. It's actually New Orleans. D is the answer. You don't think of New Orleans being the coldest location of all of those, but it is the winner. San Francisco, Detroit, Minneapolis all get very cold. New Orleans would not have been my guess. And this is an old game back in 1972, Super Bowl VI. It was Dallas versus Miami. Dallas won. It was played outdoors at the Tulane Stadium in New Orleans. It was 39 degrees at kickoff, played outdoors, and it was just not a very enjoyable game. That was the coldest ever. And of course, now we know we go in the dome a lot of times. The coldest indoors, if you're wondering, was Super Bowl 52. And the wettest was just 17 years ago. That was actually in Miami. So I'm not sure what I would like less. The rain, the cold, probably the rain. I would want to sit there in the cold. I don't know. All right, here is your question that I'll leave you with for tomorrow. I got a little bit ahead of myself there. Which U.S. state's license plates claim to have, quote, the greatest snow on Earth? Which state has the greatest snow on Earth, or at least thinks they do? So much that they put it on a license plate. Here are your choices. A, Colorado, B, Vermont, C, Utah, or D, Montana. You can head on over to the website to enter our Around the Ozarks Wake Up Weather Brain Twister question. What's up for grabs every single day is a $20 gift card to Scooters Coffee. Thank you so much to our sponsors, Scooters Coffee and Rescue Towing. If you need a tow today, you know who to call. There will be winter weather on the radar. I want everybody to stay safe. If you need weather information throughout the day, make sure you check out the website. That's aroundtheozarks.com. Again, 2 to 5 inches of snow for the Springfield metro area. Higher totals possible in this very narrow band of heavy snow that's going to set up right along I-44 and areas to the south. But we're warm into the upper 30s today. So we'll do our best to melt it off through the day. Be very cautious on that morning drive. And lucky you if you don't see much snowfall out of this one. We'll be back into the 50s by tomorrow. Have a great one. I'll chat with you again on Tuesday.